So this was actually kind of, Jessica led into this perfectly. We're in the people business, right? We manage, you guys lead 4,500 people. We house, 400,000 people. We're in the people business. We're not inside the fund. There we go. There we go. You lead 4,500 people. We house almost 500,000 people. Our properties raise money and make money for people's pension funds, right? We're in the people business. There are 332 million people in the United States. 107 million of those people live in rental housing. It's 45 million homes. 45 million homes. So how do we make Lincoln stand out? How do each one of us, each and every day, stand out to those 45 million homes and make them live with us? How do we do that? So Jessica did talk about this a little bit. I feel like I wish I could say I stole some of this, but we did get to talk ahead of time, right? So we knew what each other was going to talk about. But thinking about words like valuable. So when you think about being valuable and being valuable to your teams, or your teams being valuable to your residents, what words come to mind? Just people yell words out. Irreplaceable. What else?
Leadership. Loyalty.
What else? So the definition of valuable: useful, helpful, of use, of help, of assistance, practical, beneficial, productive, constructive, effective, rewarding, important, all really good words, right? But how do we take valuable and turn it into being invaluable? What does invaluable mean?
Can't do without.
Can't live without. Priceless. Irreplaceable. What else? Unforgettable. Indispensable, crucial, critical, key, vital, irreplaceable, extremely helpful. And that's where when you go from being valuable to invaluable, it becomes less about them accepting you and more about how you can make your teams better, right? What do you bring to the table? So kind of turning that around and taking it to our employees and our residents. We literally office in people's homes. And I think remembering that's something that's so easy to forget. Our teams go on site every day, right? And that's their office. They're there to get a job done. The residents come in, it's annoying. Prospects come in, I don't have time for you. They don't really do that, I know this, but maybe a little bit, right? Especially the last 2 years. So really turning that around and talking with our teams, we office in people's homes. We are a guest in their homes. They're not a guest in our office. And I think that's something that we forget about sometimes, right? So I love to tell stories. And this is probably my favorite story. So 2020, which we all know was a terrible year, took a terrible turn. But in January of 2020, we went to the National Multi-Housing Council's annual meeting. And I was going to tell this story at our leadership conference on March 31st, 2020. It did not happen. We held on to the story, and it actually got better. Believe it or not, it actually got better. So at the NMHC annual meeting in 2020, we had a couple of dinners with different clients, and I am a big believer that wherever you're traveling, wherever you're visiting, don't go to chain restaurants, do what the locals do, eat local, don't be a tourist, do the things that the locals do, right? Find great food. So someone had suggested, we were taking Eaton Vance to dinner, someone suggested, hey, let's go to Morton's, that'll be a lot of fun, right? And I'm like, there's a Morton's down the street from our office, and there's a Morton's down the street from their office in Boston. Can't we find something like cool and kind of local? And I mean, that'll be so much better, right? So we did. Found a really cool, trendy, awesome steakhouse. There were probably, 20 of us going to dinner. We never ate dinner at that restaurant. We were there for 2.5 hours, 2.5 hours. The manager lied to us, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. Is that fair? At least. Lost about half of the party. Those of us that stayed went to a Mexican restaurant with the Eaton Vance team that stayed, had interesting, fun dinner, and then at the end of the evening, Eaton Vance's CFO stood up on the table, pushed it down, the table flipped over, I was wearing a white suit, Mexican food all down my suit. Yes, yeah. It was awesome. So, that was the cool local, not Morton's, why would you go to Morton's, right? Like actually thinking these things in my head, clearly I had MSU at that point. So the next night we had dinner with LaSalle, and Christina Russo planned, she's like, the party's gotten way too big. We can't go to where we were planning to go. Morton's is our only other option. So, all right, fine, we'll go to Morton's. So we go to Morton's, we get there, and the waiter greets us, and he's like, I'm so sorry, the table that we were going to put you at, they've not gotten up yet. Would you guys mind eating in the wine room? Oh gosh, no, we would not mind that at all whatsoever. It'd be just fine. So we're dinner in the wine room, and there were probably about 20 of us that night as well. And I have no idea why, but we start talking about Hot Pockets, right? Hot Pockets, because that's just what you talk about at dinner. I had never had a Hot Pocket. Another story for another day. There were actually 3 or 4 of us at the table that had never had Hot Pockets. So the waiter's hearing this story. And the next thing we know, the waiter walks in with a platter with a silver lid on it. He had gone across the street to 7-Eleven, bought Hot Pockets, took them to the kitchen, had them prepared, and then brought them to serve to us, right? Yeah, Rachel just said, wow, seriously. So in March of 2020, I was going to tell this story. So the customer service, the manager lying, I clearly made stuff up, right, in my head about Morton's. It really was the best dining experience ever. Their food is unbelievable, so why would you not go? Fast forward to this year. So we knew that when we were back in Orlando for NMHC, we were absolutely having at least one dinner at Morton's. So I called a couple of weeks ahead. We booked it, 6 months ago. Called ahead, maybe the week before, and I asked for the general manager. And of course, they're like, oh gosh, someone's calling to complain. I'm like, no, I'm not calling to complain. We were in there a couple of years ago, and I start telling the story, and the GM, that was Ralph, finishes my story, literally finished the story for me. Ralph, now the GM at Morton's in Orlando, was our waiter. And his server, his kind of runner person, she's a GM at another Morton's here in Florida. Yeah. So in an industry where turnover is unbelievable, clearly much higher than our industry from on-site teams, right? These 2 individuals, and clearly it's probably as much about Morton's as it is about the 2 of them. They found a way to keep things simple, right? To be unexpected, to be very credible. They connected with our emotions, he's paying attention to what we're doing and what we're saying. And then there's a story. And I can promise you, if you call Morton's in Orlando and you say Hot Pockets, everyone in that whole restaurant knows exactly what you're talking about. So let's challenge our teams. And then this is Ralph. No. Should I like them? No, they were terrible. So let's challenge ourselves and challenge your teams in all that we do to not just be valuable, be invaluable, and every day keep things simple, Do something that's unexpected. Always be credible. Don't lie. Connect with people's emotions and let them leave you with a story, or you leave them with a story.